We spent a few days at the Rainbow Provincial Park on Lake Superior. Our base camp was at the Rossport campground, and we came here to explore new off-road trails in the area. When we passed Schreiber, we had to visit the train museum and we picked up a few good tips. So we will talk about Train Watch in Selim, only steps away from the campsite, the walking trail along Lake Superior and the red chairs, the Jackfish ghost town, and of course Schreiber and the train museum. Welcome to our escapades. Ursula is the navigator, my name is Dieter and I'm the wheelman. The Rainbow Falls Provincial Park is only 70 kilometers away from Nipigon. We drove there twice to explore the abandoned train trestle over the Casque Creek. In our story here, we start in Rossport. The Rossport Coastal Trail is a side trail of the Parks Canada Casque Trail. We stopped the rest area 2 kilometers east of Rossport and started our mini hike rock hopping along the water's edge. The shore of Lake Superior offers some beautiful beaches and breathtaking views of Lake Superior and some of the islands. There is an actual trail only a few meters in. It is a safer choice when the lake is not as calm as it is here. The chairs are nestled into the trees and shrubs, and the only access is from Rossport or the rest area where we started. Next is our campground. Rainbow Lake Provincial Park has 2 campgrounds. We were at the Rossport campground and had a site only meters away from the water. The beach is mostly pebbles and rock formations extending into the water, and the view is truly amazing. I went for a swim in the 16-degree water once. Did I mention it was a short swim? The sound of the waves was very calming, so were the raindrops. The next stop along Lake Superior is only 2 minutes away from the campground. Selim siding is a 2-track passing lane and is part of Canadian Pacific. The lead locomotive was CP8114 and the helper was CP9734. 84 cars later was the helper locomotive CP8913 and another 88 cars. CP8799 and CP9720 also waited with us and could finally leave the siding. The pusher locomotive was CP8777. 43 minutes later, it was quiet again. Next stop was Schreiber, the place where we learned a lot about trains, past and current. Canadian Pacific 6539 was built in 1955 and is now permanently parked here at the museum. The Lionel Line's 1060 makes its rounds when a visitor arrives. the museum is a treasure trove of railroad-related artifacts and everyday items from times past. Way too many items to show, and a good reason to visit the museum yourself. Just west of Terrace Bay is the Aguasabon Falls and Gorge. A boardwalk and stairs lead to the viewing platform. The water drops 100 feet into the Aguasabon Gorge. This is well worth a stop, and it is the trailhead to Denny's Cove and Terrace Bay Beach. We drove to the beach and took the short trail to the red chairs. The rugged trail is part of Park Canada Casque Trail. The view from the red chairs is amazing. Behind the peninsula is Jackfish Bay. We'll talk about Jackfish in a minute. Overlooking Terrace Bay Beach and Aguasabon River that flows into the bay. Behind the peninsula is Denny's Cove. It is part of the Casque Trail. East of Terrace Bay is Mill Road, where the Home Hardware is located. The hardware store was not our destination, but the service road that connects Highway 17 with Highway 11. This is a 130-kilometer long road that runs through Ontario's forest. No towns, no phone connections, no help if something goes wrong. We went there more than once. It was a spectacular landscape of lakes, rivers and hills. The water here feeds the Aguasabon Falls and ends up in Lake Superior. Looking at the topo map, I found a rock formation that rose over 500 feet up. They are not the Rocky Mountains, but equally magnificent. We had to make a choice and decided to explore the right road first. 2 days later, we followed the left road. A water bar was already fixed by previous travelers. This was not the only sign of water damage on the road. Driving along the road, there is water everywhere, swamps and creeks that flow into lakes. In this area, they eventually end up in the Aguasabon River here and flow into Lake Superior. Then Lake Huron, Lake Erie, Lake Ontario, and down the St. Lawrence River into the Atlantic Ocean. This water here has still ways to go. A new day, a new adventure. We learned about Jackfish Ghost Town in Schreiber and had to explore the remains. We parked the jeep and hiked to the ghost town. When we came down to the tracks, we saw the train in the far distance. We didn't realize that the track loops around Tunnel Bay, and it took the train about 5 minutes to make it here. first buildings were right at the bottom of the trail, only about 30 meters from the tracks. My guess is that these buildings were in use long after the steam locomotives were replaced by the 1950s. This site was completely abandoned by 1963. However, Jackfish is still an important part of the CP rail system with a double track to let other trains pass. The siding is east of the ghost town. We walked along the track and mostly found metal and concrete remains. Even a car is a permanent fixture, hidden in a gully between trees. All the wood has vanished and the foundations and metal structures remained. The octagon shape of the water tower still looked solid, with trees growing inside. An aerial view still shows the structure, but I wonder for how much longer. The other remains are already hidden under the tree canopy. The coal depot tipped on its side. In 1985, a port was established to receive the coal. The dock was outfitted with cranes allowing large ships to unload their cargo. This is a beautiful beach, but parts are unsafe because of the remains. We spent a good time learning about the history of the railway in Canada. A good start to our journey was the museum in Schreiber and Casque casing. Our two previous videos covered the abandoned train trestle over Cache Creek and the Casque casing museum. We will likely go back to find more interesting places. If you enjoyed our travel stories, please hit the subscribe button and get notified. Until next time, thank you for watching and we'll see you out there.